Hey everybody, welcome to Castles, Capes, and Clones presents WandaVision. This is a show where we do a deep dive into WandaVision episodes, and we'll be talking about episode 9, the series finale, today. Uh, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post. Also, um, in case you haven't seen episode 9, uh, you might want to come back later because we'll be doing a lot of spoilers. So come back later if you haven't seen episode 9. Um, anyway, I am Loren and I'm here with Rich and Thom.
Hello.
Greetings.
How's it going?
Going okay. How are
Good.
you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, and I noticed you got your pin, Rich.
Oh, the
Other side.
I'm looking.
You got the
Yeah.
what?
You is that the one you were looking for?
Yeah. So now I am the logo.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, his
You
shield.
got the
Yeah.
logo hat on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I broke down and just got it from Amazon. So
I was thinking of doing that for some of the pins I want, but
yeah.
part of me wants to wait and get them from like a pin trader or something when the park's open. So
Hmm.
I'm indecisive because I can just go on eBay and just buy the pin I want, but something about
Right,
getting them in the park.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
That's pretty crazy.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's start off with where we left off, and that is with Agatha with having the boys around the neck with her magical chain. And she accuses Wanda of being the Scarlet Witch. Agatha wants her power. And she says, I have power. I take power from the undeserving. She offers Wanda the opportunity to stay in Westview if she'll just give her her power. Um, and then, actually, let's leave it there and discuss anything that we have seen in that opening scene. Anybody pick anything out of there?
no.
I
It's pretty
didn't know, but
straightforward kind of thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
I
picked
don't
up right
know.
where it left off. Yeah.
You know, like, because sometimes you guys are better at finding things than I am. So
I mean, like
I'm always
it's the climactic battle, right?
right,
So there's no like the whole like hidden things or whatever is kind of gone.
right,
This is pretty much a
right,
straight up. Oh, here we are. This is what's
Like
going to happen.
we need to resolve what's going on pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah, we're working towards resolution at this point. So, I mean, like I can dive into what happens later because of what she says here has repercussions later.
Let's talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no.
Okay. All right. Well, so White Vision shows up and he tries to kill Wanda. It's his new programming, saying that she's dangerous. But Westview Vision comes in and saves the day. And they start fighting in the sky. And Wanda chases after them. And meanwhile, we see Monica, uh, you know, thumping on the window. She is still the prisoner of Pietro, and she's trying to get out, but he's getting the upper hand on her.
Okay, now you jumped way far ahead.
I
To go
did?
back to before Vision shows up
Okay.
and the fight, how that first part ends is that, I mean, like I guess we kind of passed up the fact that what Agnes is doing is pretty much absorbing her power,
Right.
right, and turning her in like the whole like life force, whatever. So you see her hands going, you know, old and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean that's straightforward. But like, she hits her with a car,
Right.
and they have one of the ongoing Wizard of Oz references
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
what's
show.
it? I don't. Oh, it doesn't shoot.
Boots. There,
Yeah.
her boots left behind.
Right.
It's a witch battle. Agnes is the Wicked Witch of Westview.
Right.
And they threw in a homage to another homage
Wizard of
to
Oz,
Wizard
yeah.
of Oz.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
I mean, the
Yeah.
whole thing, there's like a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
It's someone going up into dreamland, whatever. Goes
Mhm.
from black and white to color.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing different parts
Right.
in the fantasy, and it's a fake kind of thing going on. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
The whole thing with Vision, we're seeing what we assume is the put together old Vision, but looks different. I mean, not just because it's all white, but we can tell that it's like they've had to modify things. So it's not like a carbon copy.
Right.
It's not like they just painted Paul Bettany white.
Like
the
his he's got a triangle on his forehead rather than a diamond, and it's blue rather than yellow.
Yeah, but even like the detailing, it's different.
Mhm.
There's subtle differences.
Different. Yeah.
And also Paul Bettany changes his voice a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
when
definitely
he's
does
White
not
Vision.
sound like him.
And so the prophecy that he said in the interview a couple weeks ago, where he's like, he gets to work with an actor he's long admired, came true, and that he acted with himself.
Oh my God.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Thanks,
Because
Womp.
there was he did another interview recently where he said that he was like, I was just having a bit of fun. But yes, and he's like, I'm sure there'll be a lot of fans who might be a little disappointed, but yes, it is me.
Yeah.
That's funny though. It's funny, but womp womp at the same time.
Yeah.
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 I mean, like, that's going to be a lot of what this episode is going to represent in fandom.
Mhm.
Is a lot of womp womp moments.
Yeah. Let me know if I miss anything again, because I was writing notes at the same time the show was on, and I saw it one time before, but that was at midnight last night, and so this morning I might not have caught everything. So I appreciate your bringing up that part again, because I completely forgot about it.
Right.
Yeah, I almost forgot too, and I even, during that little shot of her boots underneath the car, I did the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of him from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, of him pointing at the TV, and I was like, I know what that is. Or
Yeah.
I guess more appropriately, Steve saying, "Oh, I understand that reference."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is on there? And obviously, Agatha was not crushed by the car.
No.
She's a little more powerful than that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna take more than that.
Yeah, and like we're seeing a different, like obviously we're seeing a different division, but like it's definitely a clear difference in how Paul Bettany portrays both versions.
Mm-hmm.
This one's more cold, obviously.
Yes.
But
more
still
robotic.
Still,
I mean, there's still an intellectual mind there, right? But I like the line where he's like, "Here, I thought you were," or something like, "They told me you were powerful," and he's like literally crushing her head.
Right.
Which I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna crush her head.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Oh my god, that would have been gross.
That would have been a huge turn, and like just all this, it's just
and scene
graph and just credits, like
That's
like
the
what?
end.
I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, I'd be sad, but I think all of us would be like, "What just happened? What did we
Right?
just do?"
Like, whoa.
I know.
Yeah,
I would need therapy after
yeah.
I think everyone would.
that. All right. Anything else on the Vision and Vision?
Um. Well, I feel like I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but just this was pretty much later on. Well, I guess I can wait. Just when the two visions are having that discussion, when
Mhm.
real Vision is trying to get White Vision to essentially think about his existence. But
Existence.
I
Yeah.
know that comes a little later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a
Yeah.
little bit. All right. Well, meanwhile, again, Monica is trapped by Pietro. She's trying to get out. Jimmy Woo, outside of the hex, Jimmy Woo is brought into Sword, and
Pause.
Hayward, huh?
Pause.
I know.
So let's. I mean, like, I don't remember. Like, I only taught the once, but are we just talking about? It's a hard episode to do because it's one thing that happened,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? But I mean, we might just do it in kind of not scene by scene because it's
Yeah.
intercutting things are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I don't know where the cut is where we learn who Ralph is.
Oh, yeah, that's still to be.
Right, but it's the same scene. You know what I'm saying? It's like talking about a section in different chunks, and I don't know where to stop you.
Well, I'll mention it actually. I actually have a thing that says talks about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Jimmy Woo is brought into Sword. Hayward offers Jimmy a chance to be part of it all, but Jimmy pretty much declines, obviously, and says that the FBI is on their way within the hour, and then calls in for backup. Back in Westview, Agatha reveals that the Scarlet Witch is
So
in the
pause.
Darkhold. What?
So pause.
Okay.
I mean, just hit him on Jimmy Woo because we don't see much of him. This is
Yeah.
mostly what we see of him is the scene.
Right.
You know, he pulls his magic tricks out again, like
Yeah, with the paperclip.
paperclip, getting the phone, but then like he says flourish after he
Mm-hmm.
frees himself from the thing, and like again, he's not. I like the fact that he's not playing the bumbling FBI
Right.
guy. Like he's
Yeah.
got skill.
Yeah.
You know, and you know he's got his wits about him where he can bluff and he can be the FBI guy.
Yeah.
Um,
But at the same time,
Yeah.
he can be really funny.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's the cool thing about Jimmy Woo, or Randall Park as Jimmy Woo, I should say. In the comics, he's not quite the comedian, but
Right.
he's not the magic guy.
Right.
All right. So back in Westview, Agatha reveals that Scarlet Witch is in the Darkhold and says that she has more power than the Sorcerer Supreme. And Wanda insists that she's not a witch, though. And, you know, Agatha's like, keeps saying, get over it. And she awakens the people of Westview. And then we cut over to Monica, who discovers Pietro's name is Ralph Boner. There we go. That's where my husband Ralph comes from.
Right.
And she looks for how Agatha is controlling him. She sees a purple energy around his necklace, takes it off, and he snaps back into reality. So,
I mean his his response to his real name was a nice touch, I feel. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that was definitely a callback to the Growing Pains,
Yeah.
Yeah.
having a character named Boner.
Right.
And I know a lot of people are disappointed that he's not
Actually,
whatever
Yeah.
theory, insert whatever theory that we've also had, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not. There's still some questions about that.
Right.
But before that, you skipped over the Darkhold
mhm.
a little bit.
The
The
Darkhold?
The Darkhold book.
No, I did talk about the Darkhold.
Right. Time to discuss
Okay.
this.
Oh, okay.
I was one of the theories of what that book was. This also kind of plays in the fact that this is not the same universe as Shield, because the Darkhold was in Shield and it's a different kind of deal.
Right.
And I do think this is the missing book in the from Doctor Strange in the library.
Yeah.
And it's because the page that we see, and I can't remember if we see it here or later in the episode, but we see pages of the book that portrays, when she says that she is in the book, she literally says there's a whole chapter devoted to the Scarlet Witch in this book. And this is the Book of the Damned. This is a book of pure evil. It's pretty much the One Ring of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's created with Cthulhu's malice and hate and whatever. So it's a book that that shares in Shield is that it corrupts absolutely. Right. This is probably I don't know if this is a book that Agnes has had for a long time, or did she take it from the library at some point?
That's an interesting question.
I, as a filthy casual of just everything Marvel, you said Cthulhu. Is this a character? I'm assuming it's a character in the comics that is essentially the equivalent of an old god.
Yeah.
I eat that stuff up. I just gotta say, once you said Cthulhu, I was like, because I already know the thanks to like Dormammu and whatnot, that there are essentially all powerful celestial beings.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool enough. I still have a super high res screenshot of Nowhere, because I think that's just awesome.
Yeah.
But then he said Cthulhu, and I was like, I didn't know that was a part of this. I already knew about Mephisto. And I'm like, okay, we're okay. Demons are in here too. That's awesome. And then old gods, all the celestial weird stuff, I eat up. So that just gets me more excited for whatever they're gonna throw at us.
Right.
Yeah. I only know bits and pieces of what the character is in the comics.
Yeah.
But he is tied to that book, and he's used it to either try to possess Wanda, or was successful at some point possessing Wanda. He's basically trying to get back or get to this realm through that book, which is why I call it it's similar to the One Ring. It's also in Lord of the Rings, the One Ring was also a way for Sauron to kind of
manifest himself.
Yeah.
So it's going to play. I feel it's going to. Obviously, it's going to play a big part in the cinematic universe, especially with the Eternals coming and whatever's happening in Doctor Strange.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like it's. What am I trying to say here? It's. I think what people are going to have trouble with in this series and this finale is that this is the way that they're telling stories is very comic book, and it's not like this is a chapter, this is the way comic books are kind of told. Like there's a lot of loose ends that we know are going to go and branch off into different areas,
Yeah,
and not necessarily in the most linear fashion.
right. Let's get to this discussion at the end because I have time at the end for whether we were satisfied about the
The ending of the
episode or
series.
not. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think this falls better within that category.
Cool.
All right. So back in Westview, the citizens all confront Wanda. You know, they're begging them to let her go, and if begging her to let them go. And you know, Deborah Jo Rupp says, "And if you don't want to let us go, why don't you kill us?" Um, they say that they feel Wanda's pain, and Wanda can't endure it, and it almost kills them all. Until Agatha kind of interrupts that.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much like she was, in order to deal with, I guess not deal with the pain she's been going through since she came back and started this whole thing. It's almost like, in order for her little, for what she did to work, she had to almost spread out all of that pain and anguish she's been feeling to everyone else around her.
Yeah, totally.
Which would kind of make sense in that case.
Unbeknownst to her. Like
Yeah.
she, that's not her intention. And I don't think I'm not really sure what's going on in this scene of what she was doing. Because I don't think, because she already has the guilt of what happened in Civil War.
Yeah.
Right. And she keeps insisting, like, no, your guys are at peace. And
right.
they keep revealing to her that no, they're not. They're living her nightmare every night. And again, this is kind of like she's being confronted with her grief again.
Yeah. And I think that, like, Agatha keeps telling her, she's this powerful witch, but she doesn't think she's a witch, and she doesn't really fully understand all of her powers, and the fact that, again, Agatha had to pull it out of her why or how she created all of this, because Wanda didn't really know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's not this is why, like, she mentions that she's a powerful witch that doesn't need incantations. Right? It's kind of like I want to say in like D&D terms, the difference between a wizard and a sorcerer.
Right.
And kind of wizards have a kind of more like a ceremony kind of thing with their spells, whereas sorcerers kind of just do their spells.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Wanda is. But yeah, but Agatha is definitely goading her into because all she knows is that she can't control it, but she knows enough to unleash power.
Yeah.
Right. And so she's basically just playing on Wanda's emotions to kind of like lose compulsion and just basically feed her her power.
Right.
I think it's the character of Dottie. Her name is Sarah something, and I saw like that name, while not in the Marvel universe, it's tied to the Salem witch trials.
Oh,
as one of the, I think she was one of the witches, like people that they accused of being a witch. So I thought that was interesting.
That's a pretty neat detail they threw in there. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's still, hope for her yet as a actual character from the comics.
Yeah, like
yeah.
And well, again, we'll talk about this later, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things from this series.
Right.
But I think we also, so to go back to Pietro and Monica.
Right.
What's weird is that he has a picture of himself there. Like, I still don't think he's exactly what we're presented with. One, or just this is just, you know, them playing Easter eggs, because his room also kind of similarly looks like Peter's room in the X-Men.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, look pretty similar.
Yeah. Some theory on that is that he's the one that's the missing witness person.
Oh.
Because he's got like it's weird because he's got these weird papers.
Right.
That show Monica like his name, like all these things that like point to who he is. I mean, it looks like it would be something you would give someone who's going into witness protection to learn your identity and to study it so that you are this person in this town.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we also see again some of Monica's emerging powers, right?
Yeah.
Which she looks at the necklace that he's wearing, can see energy.
Right.
And that's how she knew to remove it from him.
Right.
So, you know,
she's a powerful one.
Yeah, we're seeing a little more of her power set.
Right.
Yeah.
Again.
And more down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Wanda opens the hex after, you know, realizing what she's done to these people and tells everybody to run. Sword uses that opportunity to enter the hex. And as the hex opens, though, Westview Vision and the kids start dissipating. And Wanda does not want this to happen, so she closes the hex again to save her family. Agatha tries to continue to steal Wanda's powers. Sword arrives, and Vision continues to fight Vision. Wanda asks the boys to handle the military because, you know, that's what people do, while she goes to fight Agatha. Hayward then, in a really dark moment, tries to shoot the twins, and Monica stands in the way, and she's able to absorb the bullets with energy, which is part of her powers. So, you know, Hayward tried to escape, but is stopped by Darcy. Anybody want to bring up anything?
Her powers are interesting. It seems like she's almost I mean, obviously we know she can sense and see energy, but it seems like she can almost control or manipulate it.
Yeah,
that's the impression I was getting. Is that pretty much sum it up for you guys?
Yes.
She's a
kind of. All right. Well, I know you have. I know you. So, like,
her powers are not. It's easy to just say she's like light and energy, but that's harder to like. Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's something about like she has the power to control the electromagnetic spectrum. So that's what it is. And she's able to become light or become, actually, she can become any part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Yeah.
Which again doesn't really tell you how powerful that is unless you kind of know what that means.
Right.
So like her powers,
she's pretty powerful.
Yeah, like her powers are easy to say what they are, but it's harder to explain what that means.
Right.
Like we've seen, like she can see different wavelengths and whatever. She
Mhm.
can see. I mean, obviously, like magic gives off some kind of energy because she can see it. But then she can also manipulate herself to the point where, you know, she slows down the bullets that go through her, those kind of
Yeah.
things. And it's interesting to me is that like every time she uses a power, her eyes glow a different color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's not the same color. It's almost like
Yeah.
her.
Right.
It's almost like that, and her powers adapt to whatever the energy may be.
Right.
Yeah. And then before this, so when she's battling Agatha still, like when we cut back to the kids, you know, Billy essentially has the powers of his mom, and
Mm-hmm.
again has another vision of what's going on, and then they go. And I think it's important that they retain these powers even when
Yeah.
they're not in the presence of Wanda,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And especially if you think about how Wanda's always kind of losing control of the hex and
Mm-hmm.
everything in it, especially when she's concentrating on something else. And obviously she's concentrating on Agnes and all
Yeah.
the trauma and all that stuff. So, you know, still raises the question of what these kids exactly are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and some fun things to point out: the marquee, when it changes,
Yeah.
one of the movies that shows is Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
One, it's another Oz reference, but
Yeah.
Right.
two, that's a movie directed by Sam Raimi,
Yeah.
who's
I can
directing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of
Multiverse of
Madness.
Wait a
Madness.
minute. What? Wait, I didn't know this. I didn't know
Yes,
he
Yeah.
was doing this.
he's directing Doctor Strange
When did they announce this?
Like
a couple months ago.
yeah, like
Oh,
actually something like I
a
actually
long
think
time
that it
ago.
was like last year.
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed this news, but I mean
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes me
Um,
happy.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, when was I don't know, COVID time sometime.
Right. Basically.
Basically.
Sometime in March 2020 that lasted 12 months.
Right.
The
Yeah.
the 12-month March of
We're
2020.
on day 2 of March 2020.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're on day 2. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when, but it was a while ago. It's been
Huh.
um
That makes me sad.
because oh God, who directed the first one?
Scott Derrickson.
Scott Derrickson. Yeah, because like when that happened, like I forget why he's not working on it, but he totally was like on Twitter was like
Sam Raimi would
supportive,
be
like
Hmm.
awesome.
yeah, he'll do a great job and
Hmm.
whatnot. And given and I hope we kind of see the Sam Raimi of the Army of the Dead days
Mm-hmm.
with more
Yeah,
tools in his belt and less. I mean, like he's done
restrictions.
Spider-Man, obviously, so
Yeah.
Right.
he's not a stranger to superheroes. But I feel like it definitely, if he goes back to his kind of roots, um, I think we're going to see a fun ride.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it goes back to things that I've been saying. I'll keep this quick so we can continue. But that I've been saying about how the quality of the Marvel films, yeah, they were good and great before. But then when they started, hey, let's get some of the weirdo filmmakers to make these now. And just the quality and the creativity just just skyrocketed.
Yeah,
And them bringing, and again, I know this is old news to everyone else but me, but I didn't know this. um and just like, oh, we got another weirdo, let's. And considering that, I think they are going to let him. I mean, as long as, they stay, as long as they stay within the general Marvel movie formula, which
Right.
hasn't been a problem for all the directors.
Right.
I think they're going to let him flourish just like they did with Gunn, with Taika, with, yeah. So it'll be great. It'll be, yeah, I have no doubts now.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm even more
And
excited than I was before.
now knowing that fact, when we dive into some other stuff later. It'll blow
Uh-huh.
your mind.
All right. Well, I'm excited then.
Now that you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, and then obviously one of the other things on the marquee at some point, which repeated again today, was that the Incredibles were on there, and we literally got the Incredible pose.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Incredibles
I
pose.
saw the pose and I did the like I did another.
Yeah.
I understand that reference
with the family,
Yeah, that was funny.
which I was like, there it is. There it is.
Mhm.
That's a
That
good
was
one.
cool.
I still need to say the second one. I'm so behind on Pixar
Oh, The Incredibles?
stuff. Yeah, I'm so behind on Pixar. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
It's not as good as the original,
but
it's
I
good.
think that was an impossible. Like, it's rare that you can get a sequel that's better than the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Incredibles was like it's a groundbreaking kind of thing for Pixar,
Right.
and for superhero movies. It's still one of the best
Yeah.
superhero movies,
Yes.
Yeah. It's as far as all the Pixar films I've seen, it's my
right?
second favorite.
And you know, until we get the Fantastic Four, it might be the best Fantastic Four movie we have.
I know, right? All right. Well, let's get back to the program. Wanda gets the upper hand on Agatha. Oh, first, hold on. First, Westview Vision reasons with Vision, the White Vision, and he ends up showing him his history, and then White Vision's eyes turn to normal
Yeah.
color. And he says, "I am the Vision," and flies off. And we don't see him again.
Yeah. I got that moment as him like maybe uploading his memories to him to White Vision. I don't know if that's or if it was just like what you said, like, yeah, I'm just showing you everything that happened. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter either way.
I think
But
he did. I think he did upload some of these memories. Maybe he's like hoping that White Vision
he
could
can continue.
eventually, yeah, and that's why he feels more at ease to let Wanda go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I like how, you know, the Vision fight. While we kind of got to see a cool physical fight between them, it ended with an intellectual
Yeah.
conundrum that he
Yeah.
poses with the story of man.
Yeah, I know. I
The ship.
can't remember the name.
Yeah,
of
I
the
can't
ship.
remember,
but it was
love it. Yeah.
because I knew I wanted to talk about it before this show, and I had it in my head what the name was. I don't know,
Right.
but I totally forgot what the name was. But anyway, he essentially wargamed
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
the situation. He gave him a kind of like, you know, if we want to go to the Big Bang Theory show, like Schrodinger's cat conundrum.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
right, where it, like if it's one of those things, like when anyone talks about any kind of like AI robot thing, and like you know, people designing them, like, no, we'll make their logic, you know, so that it won't hurt people and whatever, but then there's a whole like, sometimes the logic that they follow means you would have to end the human race.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, but he essentially gives them the tic-tac-toe. Like, there's he gave them the things, like his programming is to destroy the Vision.
Yeah.
Who is the Vision?
Yeah.
Right. And then he goes through, essentially what he's saying is, if something starts off as the ship, whatever the ship's name is, and then at points, you know, pieces of it, the planks and whatever, get rot.
Right.
And then you replace that. At what point does it cease being the original thing and is an altogether new thing? Which is essentially what Hex Vision is.
Right.
But he retained like Hex Vision because he was created with the Mind Stone within Wanda. has that part of him,
Right.
whereas White Vision has the actual physical vibranium, synthezoid parts, whatever, but doesn't have Vision's, essentially his soul. So that ended the fight, I think, in the way that it should have ended that fight, with
Yeah.
Vision's intellect, which was what kind of separated him from Ultron, basically.
Exactly.
Right. But yeah, who knows what happened after that? Because he just took off.
Yeah, he just took off. Yeah.
Like either he's battling his own kind of programming, or he's just trying to figure out what he is at that point.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it could be a little bit of both.
Because I think he realizes he should not be there.
Yeah, he's like, this isn't, like I clearly have things to figure out. I gotta say, like, I know we're probably all in agreement, but I know we got a little bit of it, but I feel like it's been a while since we've gotten one of Vision's wonderful intellectual monologues with the quirk that he has. Like when he's trying to kind of be human, like especially like, like just how he would like especially speak to Wanda or anyone really, especially like in Civil War. Just his little, well, his little monologues, and we got that, and that made me really happy.
Yeah. And this might piss off Star Trek fans, but he's like the better version of Data.
Right.
It's been a long while since I've seen TNG. But I think from memory, I think I would agree with you. As much as I loved Data, but I was more of a
Data's awesome. But
yeah, Data's awesome.
But Data was more curious than anything. Vision is curious in a way, but he's also philosophical.
Right.
Yeah.
His thinking. So that's what the difference, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was more of a
I just wanted to say that the fighting scenes though were amazing.
Yeah, they were great.
The budget that they had on this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was movie level. Like,
yeah.
If you play this in the theater,
you would still have the same kind of thrill.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was just really, really cool to see it play out. So
I only really recall one. I don't even want to say moment, like 2 seconds worth of the entire fight, where Real Vision had a little bit of uncanny valley to him, but that was it. Like I was like, like it didn't take me out of the scene, because but that was it. And this is obviously it's a super big nitpick, because it didn't take me out of anything. So I mean, they were able to stretch the budget of what would have been a 2-hour movie into pretty much 9 hours. So almost.
Well, I think so. The running time, because I
know it varied
before this episode came out. They're like, hey, before the series finale comes out, why don't you go rewatch all the episodes of WandaVision? And I think that the running time came out to be 5 hours.
Yeah, because it's the first several episodes are
pretty short.
Long.
Yeah, so I think this would be close to like almost 6 hour long story.
I mean, that's still pretty great.
It's very doable.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. That's a trilogy.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
That's how long Star Wars original trilogy was.
Yeah.
Like 6 hours. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Wanda gets the upper hand on Agatha, takes her back to 1693 Salem. Wanda brings back her sisters, and Agatha begins to beg, but she gets control of her sisters, and they accuse her of being the Scarlet Witch all along. And they try to tie her up to the stake, and Wanda starts developing her crown and is able to get the upper hand again. disposing of the sisters and bringing them back into present day. Anybody want to talk about anything there?
I mean, that was pretty much a mind fight,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? I think it's cool that she did the thing that she did in Ultron. Her whole weird witchy sneak up behind you thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We
do
haven't seen
the
her do that in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much from that movie.
yeah, because that's how we were introduced to her and her powers.
Yeah.
So it was
Right.
cool that it was a good callback to that, and that she's still that's part of her power set still.
Yeah.
Right.
But I, like the thing is, I think we've had two very cool hero origin stories here. Like like I think this is from Ultron to now is, I mean, even though it lasts a couple of years, is the origin of the cinematic universe's Scarlet Witch.
Right.
And I think between the reveal, like her getting her costume and assuming that mantle, and also the birth of Monica Rambeau as a hero.
Right.
This TV show, gave us two really cool origins.
Yeah, definitely.
In any kind of medium.
Right.
Visually.
It's amazing. It's amazing what they got done in this series.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like Agatha is going to take Wanda's powers. They're battling in the sky, and she's absorbing all of the red energy. And then when she, thinks that she has the upper hand, Wanda reveals the runes that she's placed on the hex, and making Agatha powerless within that. And then she transforms herself into the Scarlet Witch, and they go back down to Earth. And Agatha said, kind of begs again. And Wanda's like, I'm going to turn you into what you want, what you have been, the nosy neighbor. And she said, you're going to need my help. You're going to need me. And Wanda says, if I do, I know where to find you. So this is kind of like, Rich, what you were talking about, where potentially she could be a mentor to Wanda eventually. We don't know, But I thought it was very interesting that they included those lines.
I like she was, because she taught her about the runes, which I think was kind of a cool. I mean, it was a cool reveal that what she like those runes, because while Agatha's were like whatever on a wall, like she literally blasted them into the hex walls. Essentially, so taught that, and then pulled a Tony Stark, basically. Misdirection, and then when Thanos tried to snap, like, oh, he doesn't have the stones. Tony Stark does. Like, oh, Agatha doesn't have her powers.
Right.
Boom, Scarlet Witch does. But yeah, I was like, at some point in this episode, I was like, oh, please don't kill her. Please don't kill her. Please don't kill her. Please don't kill her.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like she turned out to be a little bit more villainy than I thought.
Yeah.
Because I was still under the impression there was some deeper thing controlling her or whatever, which kind of still is, but I still didn't want her to die.
Yeah, I didn't
in whatever way, fashion.
Because even if she comes back as a villain again, that would be awesome. So either as a mentor or as a villain, I'm up for either.
I mean, like going back to the Darkhold, like Cthulhu, if he shows up, they're gonna need some help.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did find it interesting that she says you're going to need my help,
Yeah.
and Wanda says if I do, I know where to find you. So
Yeah. Um, it's just like you know that's not going to last. Like I don't think it's going to come to a point where Scarlet Witch comes back and frees her. I think she's going to free herself
Yeah,
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 somehow.
she'll figure out, or something else will do that for her,
Right.
and it'll be a problem at some point, if not
yeah,
for a
she's
little
too
bit.
powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I was super glad that we did not see the end of Agatha Harkness and that she
Right.
still has a role to play.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, like even if they didn't intend it, I think she's one of the breakouts. I mean, she's a breakout star
Mm-hmm.
of
yeah,
of this
Definitely.
show, and I think a lot of people really, really, really like her.
Yeah.
So I think I feel I feel better about her than I did Loki at the end of
Mm-hmm.
Thor or whatever, or even Avengers.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
like I'm like, all right, Loki, cool. But I feel like Agatha is a better antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to call her a villain, straight up villain. I
Right.
think
yeah,
she's, but I also don't think she's like the anti-hero.
Yeah.
She's just kind of out for herself, which could make her do terrible things. But at the same time, who knows?
Right.
yeah,
She's more like a selfish individual.
Yeah,
That's what she is.
it's like chaotic neutral.
Right. Right.
Bringing back D&D.
All right. So Wanda and her family head back home, and Wanda shrinks the hex, releasing everybody from it. There's a goodbye with the children, and then there's a goodbye with the Vision, and he asks what he is. He says that you're part of the Mind Stone within me, and all of these different things that make him up, including her love. And a tear falls out of his eye, and several tears fell out of my
yeah.
eyes.
Yeah,
I think
It
you
was
and
a
like
good moment.
half the viewers, I think.
yeah, yeah. That part really struck. Really, I started crying like a baby, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and you root for them,
yeah.
Yeah,
during this whole series. So
Hmm.
it's
I mean, it's a better love story than we got in Star Wars.
mhm.
Yeah,
um,
Yeah.
and it goes like this series wasn't about mystery, it wasn't about whatever. It was really about grief and Wanda going through the stages, and this is
hmm,
finally her accepting what has happened to
Right.
yeah,
her,
Right.
and letting it go, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, and like there's part of me that I feel like the kids, at least Billy, knew what was happening.
yeah,
Right.
I think he has a little more of a self-aware of what's going on than
hmm,
Then Tommy.
than Tommy,
Yeah.
which goes. I mean, like he's got. I mean, he's in the same kind of whatever his power is and how it came about. It's that part of Wanda,
yeah,
but he
Yeah.
has a better understanding of what's going on. And I think he knew that what was happening, and then
Right.
hmm,
her line to them, that's her goodbye. She didn't say goodbye. She's just like,
yeah,
thank you for choosing me to be your
Right.
mom.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. And I think that's again not some kind of random line they threw in there.
Mm.
That's gonna
Yeah.
come back in some way.
yeah, yeah. I was expecting her to say "I love you," but she didn't say that either. It was almost she. Well, also to Vision, it was she didn't say bye to any of them. It was
Yeah.
it was
Mm.
it would be summed up as a okay, I'll see you soon, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of what she said, like family is forever. Wherever we are, we'll always
Right.
be.
Hmm.
That's definitely paraphrasing, but like, you know, like she was basically saying that they are a family.
Yeah.
No matter how it was created and whatever, they are a family. So.
And you know, as soon as she left, she is trying to figure out how to get her family back.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. So anyway, Wanda goes to see Monica to say goodbye. Then she flies off, and the show ends. But we got two credit scenes. There's a mid-credit scene where Monica is impressed to see Jimmy kind of taking a leadership role at the FBI.
Jimmy, agent of Sword.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? An agent tells Monica that they want to see her in the theater, but nobody's there. And that agent turns into a Skrull, saying that a friend of her mother's would like to meet with her. And she asks her where, and she points up into the cosmos, and Monica is all about it. So there's that one.
Yeah. I mean, to go back to before that, once the hex is gone, you know, and Wanda is there in the Foundation again, and she's wearing the same clothes that she did when she started the whole thing.
Yeah.
She puts on the hood, and she walks through the town, and the whole town is like
scouring at her.
Yeah, like fear and anger at her.
Understandably so. Yeah.
Right. And also, like, to also go back to Hayward, like, dude gets taken out kind of by Darcy, who he is now in custody. And I feel like there's a lot of theories on him, and I'm kind of glad that he wasn't anything really. He's just kind of whatever. Like he wasn't Mephisto.
He was just shady government agent guy.
Right. Yeah. Although very dark.
Yeah, he had no problem.
I'm gonna get out of this car and start shooting at these children.
Yeah.
Which at that point I'm like, did he know they weren't real? Or because like he knows that some of those people are real people.
Yeah.
I don't think
so at what point did he like figure out that they were I'm like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
It is. Yeah. It was crazy.
But I really like the scene where like she's again facing what she's done, and you know, like we've talked about, like, is she the villain of this story? And part of her is the villain of the story. Like she essentially, for however long this went on, tortured how many more people all these people without, again, unintentionally, but you know, she's got it's another thing in her past that she's going to have to deal with and accept that she did these things. And I'm hoping that carries through to whenever we see her next.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it will be interesting because in the end credit scene, did anybody want to say anything about Monica?
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that specific Skrull was the daughter of
I don't, that was my question. But I don't know if he like if they knew each other. I didn't feel that they knew each other.
But we don't know how much they actually interacted with each other. If it was just that one night years ago when they were kids,
right?
Very easy to forget. Like, I mean, I obviously you can't forget that you met an alien, but that specific one, if they've never seen each other since then, they might not even just really know who each other was, as it could be just one night memory out of countless years. So I think it still could be, but who knows?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Who do you think is the friend of her mom?
Maria Hill. I mean, it's probably Sam Jackson. It's probably because we know he's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking it
where,
was Captain Marvel.
where is he?
He's
Yeah, we don't know.
we
He's like
don't
somewhere
know.
in outer space
Yeah.
with a bunch of
Well, I'm
Skrulls.
assuming he's in that station or whatever that where the scrolls were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since I saw Captain Marvel, so I can't
Yeah.
remember if it was a ship or it was had to be some kind of ship, right? Or a space
Mhm.
station.
Right.
I feel like that's where he is
Yeah.
with the scrolls.
Hmm.
Which I mean, the scene where we see him
Mm-hmm.
in Spider-Man, because Spider-Man Far From Home takes place after WandaVision,
Right.
right? So that scene is after this scene.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
That
Uh,
makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
like a couple months actually after this scene, after
Right.
the show. So I mean, like, I don't think Captain Marvel is there yet. I mean, but we don't know what Captain Marvel is doing after Endgame.
Right.
So maybe it is, and it's leading into, because like I can take this one of two ways. This is, I mean, we do know she's going to be in Captain Marvel 2.
Captain Marvel 2. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know where in the timeline that takes place in relation to Secret Invasion,
Right.
right? Because I think this could lead into Monica's involvement in Captain Marvel 2,
Right.
or it could lead into her involvement in Secret Invasion,
Right.
which I'm hoping also Jimmy Woo and Darcy play a part in that
Mhm.
thing. So
For me, especially when it comes to Captain Marvel 2, the only thing that matters to me is Goose coming back.
Yeah. I'm sure that he'll be back.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. He was kind of a breakaway star from
Mhm.
I mean,
and
Goose,
he's big in the comics, so
yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
had. I mean, I wonder if he's still if Nick Fury still like hangs out with Nick Fury.
I hope he's just at Nick Fury's home, because obviously
Yeah.
Nick Fury was just loved was a fellow cat lover. So I wouldn't
Right.
be surprised if he's just lounging at his home somewhere, some
Right?
Yeah.
secret undisclosed
Like I
location.
actually hope you find out that Nick Fury has had this relationship with Skrulls this whole time,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
and he'd go back up into space after
Uh-huh.
talking to Tony, after talking
Yeah.
to whoever, and just hangs out with Goose.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me, because yeah, we saw that softer side of him
Yeah.
in Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
so it
So,
wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, but yeah, I hope we see, like, I don't know what comes out after Doctor Strange next year.
Mhm.
Next year. in day three of March
Yeah,
2020.
day 3.
It'll come out.
Right.
Man, that's gonna be a tough 385 days until
Yeah.
Right.
Doctor Strange comes out. But I mean, like, just having like two possibilities of where she shows up gives me hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
see a lot more of Monica Rambeau
I'm
in the
excited.
future.
All right. Well, let's move to the end credit scene. Wanda is in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. She is drinking some coffee and she goes in, but the camera keeps going, and we see Wanda in her Scarlet Witch outfit reading from the Darkhold. And suddenly you hear the kids cry out, and her eyes are glowing red, and we don't know what that means.
She swipes
But
left.
what I'm wondering is, why were there two of her? This is a question I kept getting all day long.
I mean, I have my theory.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
want to know
same here.
what your
I don't
theory
know. See if
is.
everyone sounds like it. I like in the battle with Agatha,
Hmm.
she says you're even more powerful than Sorcerer Supreme.
Right.
And that's the only kind of tie to, like, obvious tie to Doctor Strange, because he is a
Right.
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
In Doctor Strange, his greatest kind of power, besides the magic and whatever, is that he's a learner.
Yeah.
And we saw him once he learned how to project into the astral plane, he would be doing something else, sleeping or whatever, but
Right.
also reading everything.
Right.
Yeah.
This is like I feel like it's a more advanced version of that, because
Right.
she's not sleeping, she's doing whatever, and part of her is reading stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I got from that. And that, like the runes stuff you see around her match, though, what you see in the Darkhold.
Hmm.
um and so it's almost like, the notion that Wanda can still be a villain is still there. This is where I
Yeah.
think it comes back to her notion of family, but like the trauma that she's gone through
Hmm.
um might help steer her from that whole absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the one thing I don't want to happen is like it happens again. Like she goes through this whole thing where,
Yeah.
because I think this has to have taught her more about things.
Right.
And if she gets back into that whole I'm going to be corrupted and whatever, it kind of almost repeats what happened here
Right.
in a way. And I don't think that's gonna happen. But I think that's where Doctor Strange kind of comes about in preventing that, hopefully. Who
Yeah.
knows? Or maybe she in hearing the kids. Like my theory on that is, because that book is tied to Cthulhu,
Hmm.
maybe it's not the kids
It's him
Yeah.
manipulating,
necessarily, but it's him trying to
get her attention.
get her attention, lure her into doing something, which she
Interesting.
might do. Like I think she'll probably do something she shouldn't
Right.
for her kids, because we
Yeah.
know that's a big driver in her personality, and I think that's where she might unleash Cthulhu onto the world, and that's where we get the Sorcerer Supreme, and maybe Agatha comes back. Because you got to think, like, at the very least, Agatha is self-preserving, and
Right.
she might, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I took that as pretty much she's in the astral plane, but a little bit more, I don't say powerful, but more advanced than what Doctor Strange was just doing in the beginning. And who knows, he might be able to do it now, but that was in the beginning of his story when he learned how to do it. So maybe he can also do that while he's conscious,
Right.
whatnot.
Yeah, like she's both resting and not
yeah,
resting at the same time.
that's kind of what I thought was happening, but I didn't know if there was any deeper meaning to it or whatever. So,
I mean, the other theory is that real Wanda is the one reading and whatever, and the one that we see outside is the decoy, kind of like, I'm not doing anything weird. See, if you look down on me with your Tony Stark
drones and
drones and whatever.
I'm just relaxing.
I'm just sipping tea in the in the Evil Dead house in the middle of middle of the mountains.
I mean, I'm sure both of you probably thought of this, but she's pretty much, I mean, minus the studying part. I mean, before that reveal, I was like, oh, she's resting like another character did when victorious. At least at first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of Thanos's, ending in Infinity War, and also beginning in in Endgame when he's just
Yeah,
Picking
he's
fruit.
just done all this stuff,
yeah,
and now,
he's
Picking
just
fruit
making
and
Yeah.
breakfast.
making bacon.
Yeah, he's just
He's
making
Right.
breakfast, and then he gets his ass kicked out of nowhere.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but like the first thing I thought, this is where I said, like, now that you know that Sam Raimi's directing, that
Mhm.
house looked like that house from
Yeah,
Evil Dead.
yeah, it really did. Like that's one heck of a
So I wonder if that's kind of an addition made by Sam Raimi. It's like, this is where she is in my movie.
it would, and considering that
maybe.
there are essentially evil things going on in that house.
hmm
Wow.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, like she's like embracing the dark arts pretty much, but
Yeah.
also trying to maintain, you know, that, like, just that, essentially that motherhood, that what's left of her. I don't want to say humanity because she is human, but
Right.
Yeah.
what's left of her sanity, pretty much. She's trying to rest, but she's also, sticking her nose in things that is probably gonna bite her later on and bite everyone else.
Yeah.
hmm
So the problem is
Powers like that.
she doesn't have a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be almost like if Luke only had a Sith holocron to learn
Hmm.
how to become a Jedi.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
really totally understanding what the Sith holocron is, because I don't think
Yeah.
we got to the point where Obi-Wan is like, let me tell you about the Sith.
Yeah.
hmm
Right. So all he sees, because to compare it to Luke, the first thing we see Luke do in Return of the Jedi is a dark side power.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. And I think it's similar. Like, she doesn't know there's other grimoires out there
Yeah.
to learn from,
Mhm.
let alone that this is one of the forbidden books
Yeah.
of whatever. It's not like Agatha gave her a history of that book and said,
Yeah.
this is a dark text that is the reason why I tried to get burned in the stake at the stake,
Right.
or whatever. She
Yeah.
just thinks like, oh, this is a book of magic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she
I mean,
told
it is,
Monica
but yeah.
that I don't understand this power, but I will. So it's her using the only source she has to learn magic. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's the Book of the Damned that she's
Right.
looking at, which could bring us into why Doctor Strange and her intersect. Because it's weird. Like,
Yeah.
people might think that they knew each other.
Mhm.
I don't think they really
Right. But
ever
they didn't really know each
other.
other. Yeah.
No, not really.
I mean, like, she was there during the battle, obviously, but
Right.
I don't think she understood like what all these like yellow symbols all of a sudden were, and these like group of people, this group of monks were just
Wizards.
like throwing fireballs around and whatever.
Right. You know that he has his eye on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume he would. Again, who knows what's going on at the same exact time this is happening. Like, he's got to probably also deal with the fact that you've been gone for 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And whatever that did to the sorcerers at that point.
Right.
Well, I mean, in regards to that, I feel like I saw this interesting video on Doctor Strange and that moment in Infinity War where they're on Titan, and
Uh-huh.
he's and he's doing that weird, like he's going through all the
million
the
whatever.
Right.
14
Yeah.
14 whatever, the 14, all the over 14 million. And someone, I forgot where I saw it, and it was kind of recently too, said, well, they felt that he wasn't just skimming through, he was literally living through all 14 million. To us it was just a
Right.
few seconds, that he pretty much lived through over 14 million deaths of just how he getting snapped out
Yeah.
by Thanos, getting killed by whoever. And then just that's how he found out that he went through all of this. And even the thing going back to him bargaining with Dormammu.
Yeah, we don't know how
Um,
long he was doing that.
Yeah, we it was, for us, it was only like, what, 3 minutes, maybe 4, because I still watch that scene on YouTube because I love it so
Right.
much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many times did he get brutally killed by him? Like,
Right.
was he in there for like millions of years to him and Dormammu just endlessly until Dormammu was like, like he's
Yeah.
been through a lot. So
He's probably
Right.
lived way more
Yeah.
life than most anyone we know.
than everyone
Yeah.
combined. Yeah.
So that's a good point. Like he, like, I don't know what you call that. You know what I mean? That is that another like he's going through other dimensions and living those things, or is it
Mhm.
have to do more with like how do you define those possibilities in this world, in this
Yeah.
universe?
I mean, they're essentially
Yeah.
I guess alternate realities, like
Right.
just a bunch of branches
Yeah.
that he has to live through
Mhm.
in order to figure out, did we win this? Oh, there's one time
Right.
and I lived through all of them. I got snapped out and everything.
Do you think he got to the one that worked and he stopped? Or is it,
Yeah.
you know, like you lose something and you just keep
Yeah.
looking for it, but if you find it, like, done. But what if there was more than one way and he just stopped
Yeah.
at the one?
I
He's
didn't
like,
think
I'm
about
tired.
that.
I've done this 14 million times. We got
Yeah.
one. I'm
Right.
done. I don't want to look for another possibility. Like this is it.
Yeah.
Like if 14 million tries didn't work, there's got to be just this one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then if he just went one more, it'd been like the better ending and Tony's alive.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder.
Like the version where Scarlet Witch is the one who gets him, or Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
All right. Well, what do you think? Did you guys find this a satisfying ending to 9 episodes?
Yes, very much.
Yeah. I felt the same way.
Yes.
I mean, I was expecting it to leave
no.
more questions.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, because not everything was answered. Or is that, do you have a different reason?
Right.
I mean, what's your thought?
Well, I mean, I had a feeling that the ending of it was going to leave a lot of things open for, you know, other shows, you know, especially the next Doctor Strange.
Yep.
I as with pretty much every episode, like we get answers, but then we have more questions.
Yep.
I was expecting that. I wasn't expecting it to kind of be wrapped up in a bow at the end.
Right.
I mean
Yeah,
that
me
main
neither.
storyline was, but wasn't, because there's questions like, oh, like, like, I mean, because I know you guys, you can kind of give me, a little bit of backstory based off the comics, which they tend to adapt in different ways anyway.
Right.
So we don't know for certain, like, oh, this is how it's going to go. Like they've done a great job of adapting from the comics to this newer medium.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was satisfied. I loved the ending, and I cried during her proper goodbye to Vision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Traumatizing 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
Like it was actually, it was sweet.
Right.
And as someone who still deals with grief to this day of other, we've all dealt with it. Like it really struck a chord with me, especially, that little scene they have about just, because it only, okay, this is kind of embarrassing. It only recently occurred to me, like pretty like recently, like just before WandaVision started, that they were both essentially formed from
The Mind Stone.
from the Mind Stone. Like they are
Yeah.
they're joined together pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, it took me rewatching Civil War and then Infinity War to like, oh, like I was like, oh, why didn't I think of this earlier? So but yeah, I was very satisfied with the ending, and I'm looking forward. It just makes you want more. So mission accomplished on their part. Rich?
Yeah, I say yes and no only because like I definitely didn't expect anything to be absolutely resolved in
Yeah.
this.
Right.
I think my only real thing is that for this specific story, like I kind of want it a little bit more from Monica, as this was her origin, and then like she came in and she really just found out who Ralph was, and then stopped some bullets from hitting the kids, which probably he could have done anyway.
Yeah.
With his Neo powers.
Yeah.
Right. I think I would have felt a little less satisfied if they didn't have that mid-credit scene.
Yes. Because like once it was like, you know, the end, I was like, that was kind of my thing. I was like, is that all we gonna get from Monica in this?
Right.
Like I didn't expect her to be like the savior of the show, but like have a little bit more involvement in the climax of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially for someone who, when we talked about this last time, like she is now one of the more powerful heroes in the cinematic universe. And I get it to the point. I mean, like, I didn't expect her to be all of a sudden, I am Photon, I have all like whatever. Like
right.
Kind of what she did. Like she keeps discovering her powers.
Right.
But I felt like it would be more impactful to some kind of resolution more than the part of the Hayward, even though I guess it makes sense that she's tied to Hayward. Right. But I feel like if she was the one who stopped Hayward and not technically Darcy who did it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would have been a little more satisfying conclusion to her part of this story. And I think that's really what it comes down to. And then also the fact that, you know, Jimmy Woo and also Darcy, who were, and again, but I don't think they were written as like the breakout characters that they end up being because of Randall Park and Kat Dennings. So I can buy that, but I think the most disappointing, the disappointing part is, and this is really not super disappointing. It's just like I wish we got Monica involved more with stopping Hayward, than Darcy being the one that ultimately did it.
100% agree.
Right.
Yeah, I was expecting her to do something else when he started getting away.
Yeah, like she stops the truck. Like because it was. Like, I don't know what's wrong with that guy, but then he was like, okay, well, if I'm not going to be able to shoot him, I'm just going to run him over. Like, really, dude? Like when I'm playing video games and I have to do some violence against things I'm playing this Western game, and at some point, sometimes I have to like hunt for things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like if I'm hunting wolves or something, I'm like, that's too much like dogs. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah. It's the same way for me. Like if I'm playing any game, like even like a cartoony one, like World of Warcraft, and like and like there's a quest like kill all of these deer. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Let alone kids. Like, there's a scene in this game where like these kids were taunting me, and like I could totally go beat them up and shoot them. But I'm like, that's horrible. Even though they're not real, this is a video game. Even though, but I'm still not sure Hayward knew. That's the part that kills me.
Yeah, I don't think he cared. I think he saw a threat that scared him. He's like, I'm just gonna start shooting. He didn't hesitate. He wasn't like, no, he got
out of the car and started unloading. It wasn't even like a standoff. Like, hey, what do you guys know? It was like,
hey, stop it!
And then started shooting.
He's just like, I'm just gonna start shooting without.
I was like, whoa.
That's why I was like, he got dark.
Right. But I'm like. Not in a good way. Not in like a way like I want to see him.
Right.
Not like that's his name. Zemo from Civil War.
Yeah.
He's some horrible things, but I'm glad I'm seeing him again.
Yeah, so am I. Because I didn't
But yeah, I agree. Like if we didn't get that post mid-credit scene, I would have been way more being like, that's all we got from her.
Yeah.
Like
From
then
from
I like
Monica.
understand you want to save some of the bigger her bigger moments
Yeah.
in another
For Captain
show
Marvel
or
2.
Captain Marvel 2 or whatever comes first,
Maybe
Secret
Secret
Invasion.
Invasion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I understand that part, but I'm like, you kind of built her up
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah.
to be part of something bigger
Mhm.
in this resolution. Or because she's like even if it was more her being able to reach Wanda on a level before she had her resolution, because they had to talk and they talk about grief and like Wanda was like, do you hate me? And she's like, no, because if I had your power I would have brought my mom back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would have done the same thing. Yeah.
Right. So if that was like saved for a moment before, that kind of helped ground Wanda in her fight with Agatha, I think that would have been more satisfying, because she's the one who said it. Like, if Wanda's the problem, she has to be part of the solution, and she's the one who realized it.
Yeah.
I think like it's almost like I wish some of the roles were reversed and Darcy found out who Ralph was.
Yeah.
Because I think that interaction would have been funnier, and then Monica was the one who stopped Hayward.
Right.
But again, this is only out of the 6 hours of this story. It comes down to WandaVision, right?
Yeah.
Wanda and Vision, and I think that part of it was definitely a satisfying ending for
Very
what the show was, with a glimpse of hope
Things
that
to
we'll
come.
see more Vision at some point.
Right.
So it's
Right.
not the end of Paul Bettany, because I think he's great.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's great. Yeah. I will see more of him at some point.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I
But,
feel
like-
like it'll be a big. I feel like it'll be a break similar to when Hulk disappeared at the end of Ultron, and then we didn't see him again until
That's right.
like
Until
years later.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, like just like where is he? Like we don't know. Like, and we
Yeah.
get our answer, and we got our answer years later. So I think it'll be something like, I don't think it'll be right away.
Yeah.
They're gonna make us wait.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like, we only know up to, like I said, we really know up to next year, which is Doctor Strange. I mean, like we have a ton
Right.
of things.
Lots
Yeah,
of
we have things to hold us over, and
Yeah,
until
because we were talking about last episode, like we like pretty much every week until March 25th, we have something Marvel coming.
yeah,
Yep.
Whether it be the TV shows, even like I count next week's episode, which is Assembled, the making of, as part of like we getting content from Marvel, because I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we go straight into Falcon and Winter Soldier, which join us for this.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
We'll be doing the deep dives into Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Right.
But like, even if like there's those weeks where it's like, this week is the making of Falcon and Winter Soldier, or it's the making of What If.
Yeah.
Right.
That's still more content than we got all of day one of 2020, March 2020.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So this is pretty much like, this is the year of Marvel, which I'm hoping then 2022 is the year of Star Wars and Marvel.
Yeah.
And like Disney. Like I want Disney to also come up with a series, which, I mean, Ronald Moore. So I'm hoping that becomes their version of this kind of like storytelling franchise.
Yeah.
So yeah. What did you think? L?
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, I agree with you about Monica Rambeau, and but like I said, if they didn't have the mid-credit scene, I probably would have felt less satisfied.
Yeah.
But because they had that, I felt good about where the story is heading. I cried like a baby when Vision started crying and they're saying goodbye, and just her whole thing about him being part of the Mind Stone within her, and all of these things that he is. And I just thought that was so touching. I just thought it was really good. I thought the the battle between Agatha and Scarlet Witch were great. I love the fact that she's now wearing her crown, and
Yeah.
I think that let's see, what was I going to say? Oh, and then the Vision battles I thought were amazing looking. But
Yeah.
like you said, I'm glad that it all boiled down to an intellectual discussion.
Yeah.
And that's how he kind of quote unquote defeated him.
Speaking of Scarlet Witch, what do you think of her official Scarlet Witch costume?
I like the tiara. Her hair seemed frizzy.
To like 80s.
Yeah, like 280s or whatever. I don't know if I like the sleeveless thing. Like I would rather they give her sleeves.
Hmm.
But other than that, I
feel like if she added her jacket.
Yeah.
I mean, they still could.
Yeah, I mean, we know like from movie to movie, like people's costumes change slightly.
Right, the costumes change.
Right, so I think this is a good first attempt at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she was like Elizabeth Olsen did kind of complain about her outfit before.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like, why am I the one who's showing cleavage?
Yeah, she was the only one. Yeah.
Right. And then so she got that, but like, I like how they've attempted to make that costume in the real world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, they didn't shy away from using designs from the comic books, like the X-Men did when those came out. Like, you know, the whole like, what are you supposed to do? Wear yellow spandex?
Yeah.
And then
they do
after,
it perfectly in Deadpool.
Yeah. And then you think about like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and you're like, I mean, maybe not spandex, but whatever cloth they're using for everyone,
right?
Like look good, like
that
like
cool texture.
Kevlar.
Yeah.
Like I thought Captain America's costume. I'm like, how are you gonna make that?
Yeah,
like
how is that gonna be cheesy?
It's got that,
like
whatever those are called. Like, how do you make that in the real world?
Yeah,
I liked every single one of his costumes. So I'm like,
yeah,
right,
they
like,
just they get his costumes get better and better. Like it was already the first version of it, because there was like the cheesy spandexy version when he's, in the first one when he's out doing his shows.
mm-hmm.
But even
that
then,
looked good.
Even that looked good.
I was like, all right.
Yeah, they look better and better. So
yeah, in a world where we got Mysterio.
Yeah,
they pulled that off too.
I'm fine with whatever.
Yeah, it's
like they gave us a dude with a fishbowl on his head,
and it worked.
It's amazing. Just like with Agatha, a woman in a old-timey purple.
Yeah.
You don't question it. You're like, yep,
right.
Yeah.
There she is.
There she is, right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good discussion, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We've come to the end. Let us know in the comments below, what was your favorite part of episode 9? We'd love to know. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post, as it really does help us out. You can reach us at podcast@castlescapesandphones.com. Leave us your feedback, good or bad, and share our posts with your family and friends on your social sites. You can reach me personally on Twitter at Lojav and on Instagram at Loren Javier. How about you guys?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at R2Romasanta.
Okay, Thom?
And you can find me on twitch.tv at 6orbs, where I stream whenever I feel like it.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us. The opinions expressed on today's vlogcast are solely our own and do not represent the Walt Disney Company, its subsidiaries, or assets. We'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.
Ta.
Yep. Catch you on the flip side.